There we go. I was having trouble getting on. I was having trouble getting live here. I hope everybody's great tonight. It's Friday. Party time. Everybody's working for the weekend. Am I live here? Am I live? I think I'm live. There we go. I got a new filter on my light, thanks to my good friend Bunt Young. He said the other one was too cold or something. So I got a little filter on there. And yeah, thank you all for jumping on here with me. It's Friday. It's quarantine time, and we are chilling, looking for stuff to do. And I got a great guy on tonight. His name is Adam Ray. He's freaking hilarious. He's the host of the ALN About Last Night podcast, and he's got comics on there all the time. Please jump on and follow him, Adam Ray, ALN podcast. And I actually did it. I did his podcast about a year ago. Had a great time. He made me make a prank phone call. We'll talk all about that stuff. But he did text me a couple minutes ago. He's running a little bit late, so he'll be on here any minute. He said he'd be about 5 after. Kevin Bagans, Bush. That was my catchphrase at Family Guy and the Cleveland Show. Bush. I like talking about Bush and Buff. And I like to make silly jokes. See, I just made myself a beverage, and guess what I'm going to take out of it? Here we go. You'll see. It's a tea bag. Get it? Anyway, so yeah, today I had my trainer come over, and we worked out in the driveway. So that was the first time I worked out in a while, and it was nice, a little painful, a lot of pollen in the air here in Virginia. So it was a little hazy for me. A little hazy. Reminded me of my hungover morning days back when I used to go out and party hard all the time with the babes. Yeah. Chamomile? No, I'm drinking some mint tea. My wife made some veggie chili and some banana bread today. She made a loaf of banana bread. 4 loaves. They were small loaves. And now I'm just settling my stomach with some mint tea, which is nice. And yeah, I had Chris Frangiola on last night. Very funny stand-up. He hosts the Cover to Cover podcast, which I sampled last night. And that's a pretty sweet one to check out. And then I jumped on. I'm in a podcast mode, so I checked out the WTF with Mark Maron. And what a great podcast that is. That guy's a legend. I did some comedy in New York in the late 90s, and he was always up at the alternative rooms, and he was so angry he scared the shit out of me. But then years later, my brother Patrick and I were on his podcast, which was probably around 2005 when we did Kicked in the Nuts. We had a lot of Kicked in the Nuts episodes, and I think he dug it, and so we went on, got to meet him. Hey, I see Adam Ray joined, and I think he's going to request to join me here. So everybody welcome Adam Ray. Here we go. A second. I'm learning all kinds of technical things about Instagram and podcasts and tea bags. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
How you doing, Adam?
Good, dude.
I
Just heard you talking about tea bags, and that was a perfect time for me to come in.
Yes, yep. You are that kind of guy.
How dare you?
That's not a dig.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a compliment.
It is. Yeah, I actually used to literally every day at lunch on the Cleveland Show, I would get something out of the kitchen to use as a prop penis and go from, like, as people were eating lunch in their office, I would just go and stand there with like a baby carrot as if it were my penis, just with a straight face like that. And
let's go. What's going on? Yeah, do you guys know where the carrots are?
You guys, what do you guys have? And it always got either a genuine or courtesy laugh. So as long as
that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm still. I think in these current climates, the old vegetable wiener is probably, we might have seen the best of those days, unfortunately.
Why not now?
Dude, I love your attitude. Bring back the carrot cock.
Okay, I will.
You know what I was a big fan of was the finger dick trick, where I can't remember. I think it was a senior in high school who lived in my neighborhood who had the first time I saw that, which I don't know if that's bad, but we were all playing basketball at somebody's house, and he just comes out with his, finger through his zipper,
Yeah.
And he's like, what's going on, guys? With like a little, like he had a lot of swagger. He was in high
Right.
school and he's hanging out with young kids, and we think he's the shit. But he came in and he like a little bit more charisma than normal. And we were like, what's going on, Jason? He's like, how are you guys doing? We're like, good. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's a good day. Like he was trying to get us to notice it without being a total perv, because he couldn't be like, what do you think about that? You know,
waving at you with it.
Yeah. So then we looked, eventually noticed it, and just crying, laughing. I mean, you're just like, you couldn't believe that comedy was that easy.
Right. It is. So is he locked up now, or?
Yeah, no, he's went away for 15 to 30.
Okay.
Incidentally, for stealing carrots from a boy, improv's tough, Mike. What's going on over there?
From a funny rabbit.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Hey man, I appreciate you joining me. I've had a great week. This is the first time. I love your podcast, the ALN, about last night, and you
crushed it.
Oh, you had me on there. That was a ton of fun. I was offered weed, and and we had a blast, and made a prank phone call and stuff. And I think it's really cool what you're doing. So,
thanks.
For people that might not subscribe yet or know about it, so it's all comedians for the most part, right?
For the most part, yeah.
When did you start it? How long have you been doing it?
So we started, Brad Williams and I started doing it, I'd say, 2010. And then once we got a little momentum, that's when we had on, we're just kind of having comedians on. And then I got this little part in the movie The Heat. And so I was like, oh, let me see if Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy will do it. They said yes. And then it was like, all right, now let's get more people that aren't just our comic buddies. And then, we had my Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block, and then Jason Derulo, and then Lisa Kudrow is my buddy's aunt. So we asked her, and then it opened us up to being like, all right, let's try to reach out to people that are just fun to hang out with. Because now Brad and I, we developed a good friendship and back and forth that was conducive for bringing in anybody. And now it's like, let's shoot for gold. And so once I had, I've been a fan of yours for forever. And once I got to be chummy with Biggins, I was like, dude, is there any way you can put me in his, ear? And and the fact that it happened so swiftly, and you were so cool, man. And like, we started joking around through text, like before we'd even met. And And I was like, hey man, remember the finger dick trick? And you're like, dude, too soon. And I was like, fair enough.
Right. I wasn't out of prison yet.
No, you weren't. And that was fun. And you jumped right in too. Had you met a little person before you done our podcast?
Yeah. So just to be clear to viewers here. So I'm talking with Adam Ray, who's the host of the ALN podcast, which I got to do a couple years ago. And your co-host is Brad Williams, who you just referred to as a little person. And yes, I actually did a bunch of short films a while back, no pun intended, but
no, it was intended. It was intended.
It was not intended. But we did. I got to work with some wonderful people, some wonderful little people. Martha Holland is a local Richmonder, a drama teacher, and was a great sport. You should check these things out. They're all on crosseyeDTV.com, and it's not. It's not. There's no hyphens or anything in that. It's just spell it out, Cross-Eyed TV, and at the top, there's going to be stuff playing on a loop, but then you can scroll down and see all the Kicked in the Nuts episodes, all the Henry Brothers shorts I did with my brother, and some other stuff, some Family Guy and Cleveland Show stuff. But yes, I had worked with a little person before, and so it didn't freak me out too bad. I just covered my dick the whole time.
Yeah, it is daunting for some. My roommate, at the time, had never met one, and so I'm sitting in our recliner, and he's on the couch, and we're getting pretty toasty, real high. And he walks into the bathroom. Brad comes over to kick it. We're gonna do a pod. I get up. I was like, Brad, you gotta sit in this new chair I got. It's the shit. I get up, go to the kitchen, get some snacks. Roommate comes back. I'm gone. He's so baked. Sees now a dwarf sitting where I'm sitting, and he's just like, swear to God. And I can hear all this happening in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, no way. And he's just gone. So he looks at Brad, and here's how great of a comedian Brad is, an even better friend, recognizes the situation and just looks at himself and just goes, what happened to me? And my old roommate, Dave, so baked, he was like, what the fuck? is happening? And I was like, Dave. And he was like, shit, dude.
That
Because
is
again, like he had no, Brad and I had not started it yet. So there was no, and it's, how do you give that heads up to your roommate? Hey, just so you know, there's a half a person coming by later. Don't be weird.
right.
And yeah, it was amazing. But
Brad is, I freaking love that guy so much. He's so
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
funny, and he is
Oh,
so
yeah.
fucking game. He is, a lot of people could be all fucking bummed out at, being born short or whatever, but he is
Yeah.
like, he kills it, man. That guy inspires the shit out of me. I fucking love him. I'm gonna have him on this thing if he'll
You
do it.
should, dude. Oh, yeah.
I've had this week. I had Rob Hubel on Monday. He was my roommate in New York. Then I had Seth Green on Tuesday, and I know you guys are buddies.
Love Seth.
And then Jenny Johnson, who really isn't very funny at all.
No, she's kind
on
of the
Wednesday.
1 week link, dude. She's
Yeah.
kind of, we call her Buzzkill Jenny. No, she's
So freaking funny. And then Chris Frangiola, who I met in 1991 at a stand-up comedy workshop, was on last night. So it's sort of you're the grand finale of a wonderful week. So
I love it, dude. Somebody posted earlier, I have some popsicles in my basement. Now, these types of things make me wonder, for somebody who's so vocally, just possesses so many amazing talents in their throat, and that's the third time I've said that today.
Wow, thank you.
What is the number one thing, either through Cameo or friends, that they'll hit you up and go, hey, do you mind recording this voicemail, or call my buddy and do this, or because I would, you've created iconic characters, and I know you know that a little bit, but you're also just so humble about it that you don't flaunt your finger dick out too much. But what
you know what
like
you know what I do, Adam?
Yeah,
I'm so good at that. I do a thumb dick. No,
amazing.
but you're not. I appreciate all that. I get a lot of times people say, hey, we're doing an auction for my kid's school. Will you do a voicemail, a greeting for, outgoing greeting on somebody's? So is there a dead dog there? What are you doing?
Oh, no, there's not. There, dude, it looked like I'm looking at planting mix, but I don't think they can eat that.
Well, have you just buried a body? Where are you?
Guys, come on here. Let me get these dogs in real quick. Guys, come on.
You're on your roof. Okay.
No, I'm outside in the backyard in Arizona. Come on. Let me get these dogs in. Let me get my vodka and the dogs. Come on, dogs.
Okay.
On. Guys,
not a bad combination.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm in Homeward Bound right now. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Remember Homeward Bound? Drink 5 if you're playing the Homeward Bound drinking game.
So, that's not a bad game.
It's not a great game.
So what I've been doing this week is I'm talking about just like, without sounding too corny, just kind of following your passion and letting that guide your life and having the courage to do that. And so you are obviously a funny guy and a very likable guy. So at what point did you realize, and you grew up in Seattle, correct?
I did, yeah.
And so at what point did you realize that you were funny? Like, were you in elementary school, or were you the funny kid in the family that would entertain everybody at the holidays? Or like what's your first memory of being funny?
Great question. Well, my folks split when I was 9. Thanks for bringing it up. And they
6. Mine did when I was 6. So
did they really? Oh,
yeah.
Dude, you win this round of divorce.
No, this isn't a competition. It fucking blows either way.
It always is, dude. We're kids of divorce. It's always a competition.
Yeah.
No, I was look, and I'm a more in shape than I was back in the day, but still probably 20 push-ups away from getting a free Bowflex. But I was a real big kid growing up, and I got teased a lot for that, right? So being a fat kid, it was just kids don't know how cruel they're being, because they just you don't have any social awareness yet for shooting truth darts to people's hearts and knowing what kind of an effect that is having and the sort of emotional wear and tear. So I'd get names like Adam Fathom or Penis and Tits Kid, which I thought was a little a little aggressive, hilarious looking back.
Hold on, I'm just writing these down. Hold on. All right,
dude,
so
if you now change me into your phone as Penis and Tits Kid, I'll be so happy, dude. Let me hear real quick. Cleveland, hearing me. So I stole Kit Kats from a local 7-Eleven, and they're trying to figure out who it is, and Cleveland thinks it might be Penis me, but this is the name that he's learned is my nickname.
Okay. Well, I promised Penis and Bitch Tits I wouldn't say anything. Oh, darn it. So there you go.
Oh my God, dude.
So somebody, my friend Jack Pringle from college texted me today. He was very excited that I was going to talk to you, and he said you were hilarious. And
oh, cool.
I haven't seen your Tony Danza.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Well, so I started, I do the Adam Carolla show a lot, and I started doing Tony Danza on that show as like a weird, just, impression. And then I would randomly in long Carolla discussions just go into it. Like if they were talking about, OJ being on Twitter, I just jump in. It's crazy. I don't even think, Adam, that if Twitter was around when I was filming TV shows, Taxi, Who's the Boss. I had my own talk show. I don't know if you remember that, but it was on ABC. It was about 2 to 3 months, and I didn't really have a monologue. I would just kind of bring up topics and move on. I'd be like, "Oh, the Yankees didn't make the playoffs this year."
Just plug in your resume the entire time.
Oh yeah, but so. That
That's
became
great.
just like a popular goof, but that guy,
pretty funny.
I met Danza through a buddy of mine, and then I had him do the podcast. I went to New York, and a guy who was teaching a musical theater class at USC, where I went to acting school, wrote the music for Honeymoon in Vegas that Danza did on Broadway, and so by all those kind of dots got connected and interviewed Tony. And at the end, I go, dude, you were one of the first guys I impersonated. Do you mind if we do a Danza on Danza right now? And he's like, I would love that. I've never done that before. And I was like, I know you haven't. No one's ever asked me. He goes, all right, that'd be great. So I go, all right, first question. I go, what's our favorite food? And he goes, our favorite food is like a meatball marinara, but you got to get the meat. You got to home make the meat. And I go, yeah, you got to. He goes, I know you do. I go, I know you do. And dude, it was like this weird outer body, but he was so game. And he's also like pushing 60, but in phenomenal shape. Like,
good for Tony Danza.
I know, dude. I say that every morning when I wake up.
Isn't it great when people you admire or imitate end up being friggin' awesome?
It's very cool. It's very cool.
Is.
I hope that Meryl Streep is just as cool, because that's my other go-to impression that I do.
Oh, don't do it. I'm just kidding. Do it. Just teeing yourself up. No,
okay, here we go.
It.
Wait. Have you seen the movie The River Wild with Meryl Streep?
Yes.
It's from that movie.
I haven't, but go ahead.
Okay. Do you know where we're going? So it's a real quick, it's one of those impressions that you kind of, again, you haven't seen it, so I don't know if that's going to really register.
I'm going to watch it now.
And be so bummed only watching for that part.
Right.
No, it's a great movie.
When's it coming? When?
Dude, it's a great
movie.
Say it
one more time.
Do you know where we're going?
I love it.
So
I'm in.
It's Kevin Bacon and John C. Reilly hijack her and David Strathairn's boat with their children. They're on like a fun river rafting trip, and the river gets a little wild. And Meryl loses control of the ship, and Bacon takes over.
Nice. All right. So before we go too much further, I want to hear about your evolution from
comedy.
Yeah, and
right. Okay, I told you I was a fat kid.
What was your nickname again?
Penis and Tits Kid.
What did Penis and Tits Kid start doing? Did you just start like would you self-deprecate, or would you go up and just fuck with a teacher, or what?
Right.
What did you do?
So I started. There was a point to that story. I started getting teased, and I was always like a happy-go-lucky kid. So kids that have weight issues.
You just walk into a store, just eat whatever.
Dude, my coach would call me Krispy Kreme Abdul-Jabbar, and I thought that was funny. I didn't take offense to that. I was like, yeah, man, but I'm also quick, fat, and I'm crushing it. I play the post and I shoot the three, and nobody can guard me. Right. Like, you're like a motherfucking indoor barbecue, and I was like, I'll take it, And
did you correct him and say your name was Fondue Elsindor?
Oh my God! All right, if stand-up comes back, I will add that to the queue.
Right.
But so I started to kind of not fire back a little bit with the insults and stick up for myself, and then also a lot of impressions. I do a lot of impressions of teachers and friends.
Yeah.
And I would prank call, big Seattle sports guy where I grew up. So in the early '90s, sports radio huge, right? And which was so great. I still love it now, and now I've got to be homies with some of the guys in Seattle, so I'll go on the shows. But look, and it's still great, but man, in those heydays when those channels and those guys were who you went to right after the game or right before, it was pretty special. And and I would prank call them and do voices late at night. My mom would be like, "All right, go to bed," and I was like, "You're only one parent, you can't tell me what to do," And she and so I'd call as like one voice, and I'd be like, "Hey, so I think we should trade Ken Griffey Jr. for like some hot dog buns." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, he's in a bit of a slump. I think maybe I don't know, maybe go get the Phillies mascot." And then I'd call right back and do another voice. And so I'd record those tapes, and they'd always get frustrated, but they'd never screen me. They'd put me right through because I'd always ask like act like I had a really legit question. Right. And then I would tape those on my mic for Sony, bring them on the bus, play them for my friends. They would all laugh. So nice. A collection of all that, like making fun of teachers and friends and fighting back a little. I started to kind of be known as the funny kid, not the fat kid.
So and then I was like middle school, high school.
This was 6 days ago, and there was a little bit. Yeah, this was elementary school. This was like sixth grade, like 95, as it started to kind of shift. And so fourth grade, I think I started to kind of plant the seed, and then sixth grade is when I was like full on. Oh, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Adam's a funny kid." And then I started getting invited to like the birthday parties that I didn't get to before because people like, they were like, "Whoa, we want the funny kid around it," and so I embraced it. And then in, moving into seventh grade, my mom was like, "You can't wear sweatpants at your bar mitzvah," which should be the name of my book if I ever write one. And so I dropped like 40 pounds in the summer. All my teachers were like, "You don't want pizza, but you're fat." And I was like, "Oh, right. You guys have no fucking filter, do you?" And so then and then I just kind of kept on the comedy train. It was like it came. I'm sure for you too. It's not. I don't want to say it came easy, but just shit, dude. It's like any athlete that has like a raw talent. It's just the level of enjoyment that it brings you, and how I guess more effortless it is than most people kind of mash up for this like blend of just it's fun, and and I couldn't think of doing anything else after that. And I started doing plays and quit football to play Danny Zuko in Greece. And I was like, "Oh, this is really fun." And I like the people, So
that was in high school. And then, and similarly, I was, I wasn't heavy set or anything, but I just had such a chip on my shoulder because of my effed up family, like I felt like I just wanted to be normal, and I just had all this pain. And so I just fucking, I was kind of a dick, not really. I mean, I was friends with everybody, but I would make fun of people, and make fun of myself. But, I didn't take myself very seriously because I was, just skating. But I did make people laugh, and I loved making people laugh. And I hosted a talent night at school, and I was like, holy shit, man, this feels great, And then, I didn't really pursue it until after college, but it sounds like you were pursuing it, and you went to USC and you studied acting. You mentioned. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It was. Again, it was like, all right, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was younger. Then I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. Both those didn't seem entirely feasible once I got to high school and middle school. I was like, oh, I can still be a turtle.
Turtle
but yeah. By the way, that was another one of my first jokes I would do was an impression of. I know I just did that shitty Meryl Streep impression.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
I was too short, but it was good.
Yeah. Well, it's tricky to stay in that dialect and really carry out a full conversation. But Splinter, I'd go talk about my favorite Ninja Turtles, and then I would go, whoever your favorite turtle is says a lot about who you are as a person. I go, if your favorite's Leonardo, he was the leader in the group, then maybe you have some leadership qualities that you possess, and people kind of look to you for direction. Donatello was a brainiac, right? So you probably care a lot about your studies. Raphael had a little bit of an attitude problem. So if he was your favorite, chances are you're going to be involved in a domestic abuse case in your 50s. I go, Michelangelo, the party animal. So he, if he was your favorite, there's a chance at some point in your life you're going to drink a bottle of Jaeger and take a shit up the neighbor's roof. And then I would go, Splinter was, I like that you're disagreeing. This is always exactly what you want.
I have a story for every one of those. Go ahead.
And then I go, Splinter was the unsung hero, the reason they're even together. I go, I want to pay some respect to him and do an impression of Splinter. I go, let's put him in a real life situation. This is Splinter at the ATM machine, finding out that he overdrew his account. So that was Splinter finding out some bad financial news. And dude, it would always crush And then I remember one time I did it, and some guy at the end of it just goes, "Boo!" I go, "What?" He goes, "I've heard better splinters." And I go, "Oh." And dude, everybody laughed, and I was like, one of those things where you have to give it up. You're like, great timing, great delivery. I've heard better splinters is a very funny sentence.
That's funny. Could you give us a quick Meryl Streep?
Doing Splinter?
No.
Oh. By the way, the amount of disdain in your voice and face at the idea of Meryl Streep.
No.
Lowering herself. All right, here we go. Meryl Streep. There's Meryl Streep on the river, and it's gotten wild, and Kevin Bacon's on her tail. Do you even know where we're going?
There
I know.
I'm talking with Adam Ray, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Ray from the ALN podcast.
Yeah, baby.
All right, so you went to USC and studied acting. So were you in plays there, or student films, or both? I would imagine. What?
All the plays. Shit. Again, you know, Into the Woods, Grease, Pippi Longstocking. I did my freshman year. And, you know, choirs but again, did sports and all that stuff. I tried to like do it all, but
you don't have to throw in sports after the theater stuff. I know where you stand. You don't have to level that out. So were you doing stand up at that time
No,
too? Or when did you start doing stand? Like, okay, so you graduated, then what?
Adam, could you possibly do a decent Herbert? Don't make me do that right now.
Do it in a minute. Hold on. Do you even know where you're going? Oh, shit. Never mind. Go ahead. I was going to do it. I started smiling now.
Wait, were you going to do Herbert doing Meryl Streep?
No, I was just going to do Meryl Streep.
I love it, dude. It's all right. Well, there'll be room for a take.
Do you even know where we're going? I don't know.
You do know. That was perfect. I didn't do stand-up until college and then I only did a few frat parties and followed bands like that were 2 hours late. And then, you know, it was rough. And I didn't want to leave college. The theater school was pretty demanding, and I wanted to be in college and soak it up as much as possible and not leave to go to the Sunset Strip and live a different life. And so I didn't, and part of me wish I would have started earlier, but, you know,
you're driven. So it sounds like you were driven and you had those thoughts, but you just said, fuck it. I'm gonna do this right now.
Yeah, because again, the acting school was so demanding. It was 9. You had your schedule laid out 9 to 6. You know, I auditioned again. It was the BFA program, and there was a BA. You auditioned to get in the BFA, and then they lay out shows for you and all these classes. It's a lot more required of you, and so I didn't want to be dipping my feet in multiple pools and take away from one or the other. But and also be in
so you
college.
crushed it. You were good. You were good. You got in the BFA program.
Yeah, I did all right. I mean, dude, I went to stay with a kid who was a year above me, and he was a freshman, and I stayed in his frat, and I'd never smoked pot. And the day before my audition, took massive bong rips. And USC is famous for being, perpendicular. The fraternity row is perpendicular to Figueroa Street, which is basically like the Las Vegas of fast foods, right?
Oh, okay.
There's a whole strip of it's a fat kid stoner's dream, dude. It's you name it, they got it. Taco Bell, Tommy's, Burger King, McDonald's, I mean, all the standards. And then Chipotle, there's just like all these one-offs and things. There's a Burger Master. There's things you've never even heard of, like a Dildo Dairy or something, like, which is like a Dairy Queen knockoff. There's just all these things.
Dairy. Okay.
We didn't go there, but Meryl Streep did, but she always got lost. Where are we going?
It's because she didn't know where she was going. But anyway.
But so it was.
Or maybe she did.
She did. Dude, Meryl Streep, has there ever been a point in Meryl Streep's life where she didn't have a purpose to her forward movement? Do you ever think she was just like, let's just take a drive and see if we end up in a fun place? Let's take an excursion. Or do you think she's always like calculated with her moves?
Maybe she's calculated. Maybe that's why it was so difficult when she didn't know if they knew where they were going. I don't know.
By the way, worst pitch for this movie of all time. People be like, dude, so it's just about her getting lost on a river and then Bacon takes over? All right, if you say it like that, that's a great pitch.
Okay.
But so stand-up became a part of life.
So right after
college.
So wait. Yeah. So post college, were you like, did you go out and like audition for acting stuff? Did you? Did you book stuff? Did you act and stuff? Or
not really? I didn't book anything until you're trying to build something out of nothing. So I have this theater resume I'm walking into audition for like CSI and Cold Case, and they're like, "Oh, cool, you were in a play called Vinegar Tom. Who gives a shit?"
Right.
And so then it took until 2007. Actually, my first actually ever TV job with your former guest Rob Hubel was on Human Giant.
Oh, sweet.
When him and Aziz and Paul Scheer had a sketch show on MTV.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
And I played Tom Cruise, and
oh, there you go.
but I think I had one line. It was a sketch where Aziz, I think for Rob's birthday, maybe hired all these celebrity impersonators to be at his birthday. So
Right.
There was like an Austin Powers guy and a bunch of different celebs, maybe a Beyonce, and then I was. They were dueling Tom Cruise. So it was two Tom Cruises, so me and another guy, and because it's something got mixed up. So we're there, and I think we each had one line where it was like, "Pass the salt."
Did you have dueling finger cocks? Like
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Like
dueling
okay.
cruise cocks. Yeah.
Good.
And so that was the first one, and then I got, according to Jim, a guest star on that show with Jim Belushi, and
So
and then
what were you doing? So what were you doing? Like, okay, so say somebody's watching us right now, and they're like, I want to quit my job that I hate, and I want to go do comedy or act or whatever. So, it took me a good 8 years to like get my break, which was Family Guy. So I was hustling LA, New York, came back to Virginia for a while to shoot a bunch of short films. And, the whole time I'm either getting cash advance on my credit card, or I'm waiting tables, or I'm doing like brochure modeling, like not fashion modeling, but I'm like the guy wearing the Power Company baseball cap, shaking hands with the couple on their front porch.
God,
for the Virginia Power brochure, like all this.
Get
kind of
me
shit.
that brochure, dude. Dude, Pornhub. My Pornhub subscription ran out.
Right. Yeah, that would work for you. So,
by the way, Kevin Biggins says it took me 6 months. Not that hard.
Yeah. Dude. Well, he's is he talking about his finger penis?
Yeah, dude. Prove it.
Yeah. No, I know Biggins' track. We'll get him straight. But
I was about to say Biggins is trash. I'd be like, yeah, all right, yeah.
So was it stressful for you? Was it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. It was. Yeah, that's a. I mean, look,
you had roommates, I would assume, renting an apartment in LA somewhere.
Had 2 roommates post college. We got a spot on La Brea and actually Waring, right across the street from Pink's, which was prime location, paying $640 a month in a 3-bedroom.
Hot dogs, late night
hot dogs.
Late night.
You could smell the diarrhea from our window, and
right.
It was, which was their slogan, coincidentally, and that's why we moved there. So we were like, from any window, and they're like, no, you got to be on Waring. We're like, dude, that's where we live.
Perfect.
Hey, dude, I used to live on Waring when I was shooting Who's the Buzz, and so we they could smell the diarrhea, and then we brought the diarrhea. It was great.
Right. Could you imitate Meryl Streep stoned at 3 a.m. in an Uber trying to get to Pink's, but she's not sure which direction?
It seems like a little bit of a lot to ask for a setup, Mike, but I'm going to do my best.
It's all the same. It's all the same result. I'm just framing it. Uber, you give me 5 stars, okay? Is La Brea?
Do you even know where we're going?
Yes, we are here. Okay,
I'm so hungry. So that was additional lines. But it was. I lived with 2 roommates. One was my first experience with an alcoholic. He used to fall asleep on the stairs. I'd come home from open mics. I'd hit his head with the door, and I'd be like, dude, Sean, I think it's time to take a look in the mirror, man. You were sleeping on the stairs last night. He'd always get defensive. He'd go, oh, so just because I'm sleeping on the stairs, I'm drunk? I was like, yeah, man, you're not a cat. Like you got a bed 12 feet away from here. He would show up to he showed up to a
Now, was this in your stand-up? This had to be in your stand-up.
I've done jokes about him, yeah. There's
because that was stand-up material. What you just did was stand-up material.
I should put it in for sure. There's one joke that I do about him is that he used to show up to rental the lease agreements that we would sign to re-up our stay in the apartment complex, and he showed up blackout drunk once. Drove us actually. Didn't realize until he went 65 and a 30, and you're like, this seems fast. You're like, I feel like we're going, and they're like, oh, we're there, and so we're there, and our landlord's like, all right, you guys got any questions? And Scott, the roommate, and I are trying to field are bringing up concerns that we think are legit. And then Sean's blackout drunk, and he's like, I needed my voice to be heard. And dude, if you haven't interpreted for somebody blackout drunk and tried to take their incoherent babble and spin it into a sentence for someone else to audibly receive, man, it was a challenge. But the best example, and I do this in my act, where he did this thing. He'd go, just cat pet. Bring that podcast in the rest of puppets. That's 10 for 7 puppets. And I go, I'll take it. I think what Sean's asking is pets. Can we have 7 to 10 pets in the building? What's the limit on animals or creatures, Gary, at one time? And then he got real mad at me, and he hit me, and he goes, Dr. Tevin Pevitz. I go, my bad. He's got a friend named Tevin Pevitz. Can he perform on Halloween? And what's the curfew for up-and-coming recording artists? And dude, he saw me do that joke one time, and he got so mad. He's like, Tevin Pevitz, huh? Tevin Pevitz. I was like, dude, that's what you said. It was fucking the fact that you even had enough saliva to even form a group of syllables that sounded like a word was astonishing. And he was like, I don't drink anymore. I was like, I don't believe you. He's like, I'm trying not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, he was so funny. He's a chef though. He's a pretty good chef. But so I lived with them, and that was, again, and you can probably attest to this, man. When you're grinding, it helps to have people as much of a sober nightmare.
Is there someone out to kill you?
Oh no, there's just people coming home that have been out at the lake, and so I let them in, some in the garage, and it does look like I'm looking like.
Yeah.
By the way, this would be the best live ever if, by the way, like all of a sudden you just hear like Ray, and I go, "What's up?" You go, "The fuck you doing on my lawn?" And I go, "Hey, Michael, I have to call you back." And before I can say anything, like an arrow hits me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're talking like old school bow and arrow or Nerf with like a tack on the end, or a blow dart. A blow dart. There we go.
Yeah. That's good.
But did you have people that you lived with that were like conducive to your comedy career? Because like my roommate Scott, who I'm still great friends with, like him and I would joke so much, and even Sean, it was a nice threesome of banter late night from all of our respective jobs.
Oh yeah.
And you need that, because you need to talk about the highs and lows. In a weird way, you don't need them to be your cheerleaders, but you're also like, when I come back from shitty open mics or finding my roommate sleeping on the stairs, and then like you need to find a way to keep light of everything so that they I don't know, like indirectly they laugh at what you're doing, and you go, all right, cool, like this is my audience more or less. And if I don't have this, it's
trying out your material. Yeah,
it keeps you going too, right?
Yes, you're getting those laughs. Am I in sync when I'm talking, by the way? I think okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're back. Okay. I was talking to Frangiola about this last night. There was no more visceral time than when, we were grinding, when we were broke, like fucking way broke, and not seeing any possible light at the end of this tunnel. But we would, I specifically remember in New York, I lived there for about a year and a half right before Family Guy happened. And I remember walking around with my Walkman. This was 1997. 97. I had a Walkman that would flip the tape for you. And I would just walk around Manhattan with my Walkman on, sweating. Like in the summer, I'd have my backpack I'd have a couple commercial auditions, and I just remember sweating, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking at night, and just feeling so alive, going to acting classes and whatever. And I didn't see where it was going, but I knew I was doing what I needed to be doing. Yeah. And, and taking out those cash advances, or calling my dad for a few $100 here and there, just trying to find a way. And, it works out. And that's what I like to tell people who are thinking about doing something, different.
It's business.
Yeah. Or something different. And anyway, any kind of art or travel, or, just freaking go for it, man. You're going to die one day. You may as well live your life to the fullest, and not worry about fitting into a system or getting a job that's going to put you in, a rank of going up a ladder at a company, or, like any of that kind of stuff. If you get off on making people laugh, freaking go make people laugh and find your way from there, So
yeah, because nobody knows, dude. It's what's great about the art form is that it's all subjective, and as many execs or casting people or friends or fellow performers think that they know? Oh, dude, nobody does, man. I'm sure we could each count on our hand the people that we were like, oh, wow, that guy's still doing it, or wow, that guy's not doing it anymore, huh? Or wow, that gal has her own show. Like, I didn't even know she could read. You know, like there's so many things
how
that
did they make it?
Yeah. But it's like, fuck, dude, there's enough pie for everybody.
And there's enough people that make you laugh so fucking hard. I would say a few of the people that make me laugh the absolute hardest are never gonna be mainstream and are never gonna, you know, like now, fortunately, the way everything is your voice can be heard, you know, right here. We got a few hundred people, however many people are tuning in, and we're doing our thing, you know.
It's pretty
cool.
That
feels good. It's fun. I love talking to you. You're fucking cracking me up, and you know, we've lived we're living a similar life with similar paths.
Oh yeah. I gotta get out to the East Coast, man, and kick it on. There's man. There's only so much. I mean, when things calm down here, I've also thought if things don't calm down, that I am just going to get a bunch of COVID-19 tests and put them in an RV and just fucking start seeing the country, man, and going to visit people, bringing some tests, you know, getting a clean bill of health before I enter their property. And Biggins says 61.
He's 8 off. I don't know what he's doing, but he's so yeah, man. Well, I'll be in LA a lot coming up. You know, when this thing's over, I got some things I'm working on, and you know, I'm fortunate I can record Family Guy from here when the shit's going.
How great is that, by the way?
It is real great. And,
what's your you're gonna have to send a picture or post something about your booth setup sometime, or your studio thing, because it's
I go to a studio in town. I don't have one set up at home.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's actually a really like first rate, you know, musical recording studio, but it's called In Your Ear. Anybody in Richmond right now, In Your Ear Studios, I love. Paul Brewski's my sound engineer. Been working with him for 25 years on different things. And,
oh my God.
But yeah, it's pretty sweet because I just threw on the headphones and I got the pages, and I got Alex Sulkin or Rich Appel on the other end directing me for my lines. And I do the table reads over the phone too, so I already kind of know the material. And
how crucial is the table read to your performance after? Like, I'm sure you can get away with not doing it, but do you?
I love.
What do you gain
from
reads.
it? Yeah, I do the table reads primarily because I want to kind of harvest some of the ancillary characters in a script. You know, like
it's a word,
UPS guy or whatever that aren't my main guys. You know, just that I can play with a voice and try it out at the table, and then that, you know, makes that better. You know, I can always deliver, you know, Cleveland or Bruce or Herbert or whoever, but I like, you know, kind of growing new voices that way. And we used to do it in the room all the time back in the day when Seth MacFarlane and Alex Borstein were in the room. You know, we would, you know, kind of just pitch out scenes sometimes, and you know, it was cool. And now I know a lot of the writers end up doing a lot of the voices too, and it's a cool thing to, you know, that's one thing is I've auditioned for voice work, and I never friggin' book anything. But when you're creating it or helping create it or on the inside of creating it, you're golden. Oh yeah.
Have you ever improvised something that, like, I don't know, a line is Cleveland or Herbert or any of your multiple characters that you go, oh, there's no way they're going to use that. That was such a goof throwaway, and then it gets in the show, and you don't know, and you have to hear it. I don't even know if you go back and watch the shows, but because again, you've done so many eps that, like, you know, I'm sure everyone thinks that you watch every episode, because how would you not? It's a great show to hear yourself. And
right.
It's so funny, but like, I'm sure there's been times you just like, you're getting warmed up and you're doing a bunch, or something hits you, and then you do a throwaway because you're in the zone, and then you're like, all right, whatever. And you don't say like, you guys should pin that one, because you just trust that they are marking shit, and then it ends up in the show.
Typically not. I mean, if in the writer's room, certainly, or no, in the writer's room, that happened, you know, fairly often, or I'll pitch something to somebody that, you know, one of the writers, because I'm not writing on the show anymore. But by the time you get to the booth, it's pretty well laid out. So, you know, you can do a variation on a line, but it still kind of has to serve the same purpose in the scene, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the great thing about Seth. Seth MacFarlane just created this thing, and there were no politics. There were no, work. I gotta get in with so and so because he's tight with Seth and try to get more jokes. Like you hear that happens around. The bottom line was if it was freaking funny, it would get in, and that was. I was just so lucky to, I had done the work when it was my time, for my shot on Family Guy, and Seth was somebody who got, his sense of humor and mine are very largely in sync. It'd be like if you and I were doing a show, like it would be like, he got it. But I mean, he operates on a whole nother level from you and me, believe me. But he gives me an opportunity to do my best stuff.
Is it? Do you feel like it's the way the basketball players would used to talk about like being on the same court as Jordan, and sometimes they just step back and they go, "I just got to watch this guy fly for a couple minutes because it's
absolutely, yeah, absolutely."
That's awesome.
And by the way, I'm wide open over here in the corner if you want to pass it. No, yeah, it is that. I mean, Seth, he designed all the characters. He animated the entire first presentation, which was like half of the pilot, on his kitchen table.
That's what's crazy to me.
He drew every picture and colored them in, and then he did the voices and he did the music, and I'm just like, I can do a funny voice, and then like that's, and I can pitch my poop jokes and whatever, but he really is, on another level.
Do you guys how much of the cast stays in contact? Like during this, is it one of those things that, like, I always assume, I go like the cast of Full House made a funny video in quarantine and posted a little thing, and it seems like Coulier and Stamos and Saget are all like, in each other's space quite a bit. Are you guys that way too?
We rarely get together anymore. Here, let me say two things. Lon Antonova, what's up? Tim says hi. What's up, Tim? That's my trainer, Tim Trost, and his lovely lady. Michael Bros, my good friend, said, "Get the ego out and success will come," which I think is something we got. Don't worry. If you got to fall on your friggin' face to find success. So, but yeah, to that point, I'll see Seth. I'll see Seth Green and I will get together from time to time and grab dinner. I'll see Alex Borstein at Comic-Con. We sang a song. We sang "Shallow" as Lois and Herbert.
Dude, I did see that. I did see that on YouTube. I was so bummed I couldn't be there live.
But love hanging out with those guys, and I'll see Mila and we see each other at like the 300th episode party. Whatever, or we run into each other waiting to record. So, but everybody's cool, and we're so freaking grateful. I mean, we've been doing this thing since '98. Like there's a little hiatus in there.
That's so insane, dude.
How old were you in 1998 in June?
Oh, that was freshman year of high school. That was
okay. So you were 15, 14, 15.
Yeah, 15, 16. Yeah, I think I turned 16. On the last day of freshman year of high school, I got my driver's license, which was a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was one of two kids to be able to drive. But yeah, I mean, I was in college when the show went nuts with the DVDs, and every kid in our fraternity had the whole set. I think I don't know how many seasons at point that was. It was
3. That's when we got brought back because everyone bought the DVDs and watched it on late night.
Oh, can you imagine what it was like being a college kid? Getting the DVDs, watching all of them 1,000 times, and then the show comes back. You're like, dude, is it my birthday? And am I coming right now? Because and I'm trying to think of just 2 celebratory moments you want to share with everyone.
And shitting.
And shitting. Am I doing? Is it my birthday? Am I
lacing the football on my birthday?
Yeah, dude, it was. Oh man, it was insane. And we would have. The same way, there was a few shows that we would always, a bunch of people in the house would get together and watch. And it was Family Guy, 24, and Desperate Housewives. No, and one other show was there was like a trifecta of programs that we would all geek out on.
I'm glad to be one of the 2 you remember.
Yeah, oh fuck, for sure, dude.
I mean, so fortunate, It's a miracle.
How is it? Do people, the same way Chappelle moved to Ohio to be on a farm out there, and he's got you know, his life and people that still probably that just know him as Dave and kind of probably talk shop with him here and there. Do you have a collection of characters out there that are homies, but still every now and then we'll just kind of, you'll have a beer and they'll go, dude, fucking season 5, like when you the first like, and you know what I'm saying, and geek out a little bit, or is everyone just kind of almost
Sometimes.
like they don't want to bombard you with that?
I don't know, man. I have zero presumption that anyone gives a shit what I do, and that's
That's
the
healthy.
honest truth.
It's healthy. It's not true, but it's healthy.
Yeah, well, you know, no, I mean that's the take that you got to have, because if you walk in, I'm assuming you've seen the Cleveland, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, you know, like,
Oh man, yeah.
no, I mean you can't,
That's a shot to the dick.
right? Well, you can't assume that, you know, it's. I don't know. I'm just friggin' lucky, man. I'm fortunate. I'm lucky, and I work my fucking ass off. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do dig what you said too. Just to throw back for another point to anyone that's, you know, trying to chase this. You said about being ready for the Family Guy opportunity, and that's something that I think you don't gain until you have enough reps and experience to go, oh, everything that I was doing, even though I didn't see any immediate result from it, I was stacking the chips until I
Absolutely
got the thing. And then you go, oh, now this isn't even a big deal to me, because I mean, you still have some nerves that come with wanting a job and hoping you get it. But I'm sure you kind of, you know, were just way more, you know, comfy and
I mean,
yeah.
Maybe I was just beating myself up. And, you know, I think back, like, I saw a video, like an old home movie of myself in my mid-20s. I was like, fuck, man, I had hair. I was good looking. You know, why didn't I have more? I could have been you know, whatever. But then I'm like,
Right.
no, man, I couldn't have, I wouldn't have known what to do. And so you see people that make it, hit it big on a show or something, and then, you know, then they're the ones that get tabloided, and you know, everybody relishes in their demise after that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's super harsh to be, you know, in any kind of spotlight. But yeah, man, all along I auditioned for thousands of things that I didn't get. And, you know, but yeah, doing the work. I knew I was doing the right thing. I always knew every day. I rarely doubted my path. And, you know, I was crazy. I would just I'd basically like stay up at night, like smoking weed and writing sketches, you know, or, you know, getting the headshots done or getting the this. I never stopped hustling. And so, you know, once, you know, I was 8 years in and I did my 10,000 hours for, you know, whatever that book was. You know, I was an expert at what I was doing when Family Guy started. So it was perfect. Yeah. So this thing's going to fucking cut us off, because it always does in 5 minutes. So what do you want to pump anything now? Do you want to just tell people to watch the podcast? Do you have other stuff coming up? I've been digging your characters on Instagram, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
You know, what do you want to?
So
you know, what do you want to do? Where are you heading? What are you doing?
Well, dude, I would love to pick up the sitar and learn how to play the steel drums. There's a song by Billy Ocean called "Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car," and I. Yeah, dude, was that the pop
the Hue drum? I bought the Hue drum off Instagram.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah,
dude, that sounded like the Popsicle Joe theme song when the ice cream truck used to drive through my neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
that was the beginning of it. Yeah.
We do have an ice cream truck in our neighborhood actually in the summer.
All right, we get it, dude. You got money, but I think that there's.
I have $1.
That'll get you an ice cream. Well,
yeah.
Actually, what will that have? Do you think the ice cream truck prices have? You know.
Yeah, it's about $3 for a good, you know, solid, you know, ice cream bar, chocolate covered vanilla.
Yikes, times have changed.
Yeah.
Look, I've got trying to put up shit on Instagram all the time, so that's here at Adam Ray Comedy, and you know, there's a movie coming out that me and Thomas Lennon and Richard Kind and Jonathan Kite starring in, called The Bellman, that is hitting Amazon and all the other things at the end of the month. And it was the first lead that I got to be in. It's kind of Wet Hot American Summer meets you know, Van Wilder. It's just about all these hotel bellmen that work at this this resort in Tucson, Arizona, and Thomas Lennon plays the Lennon plays the spiritual guru guy that's trying to, with a
How
hilarious.
did this happen? How did
I
you help
auditioned
write
for
it, or did you?
No, I auditioned
audition?
for it, and yeah,
Okay.
and I think they were going out as I found out, to really big names, and and
Tom
couldn't
Cruise.
get them, and my audition was look, it was one of those things where again you're like, oh yeah, I could do this, I could be this guy, but let's see, but they want Jason Sudeikis or whoever else, and luckily it went my way, and it was really it was awesome, and the movie's great, and so it's going to come out at the end of the month, and I'm on a show
on Amazon. Did you say?
On Amazon, yeah. And then there's a show with the Stupid Buddy guys, Seth Green and company, called Crossing Swords. It comes out on Hulu in June. I'm one of the voices on that.
Is that a finger penis thing?
It's a finger penis thing. It's about the history of the finger penis and how the guy who did it actually ended up losing his hands, but becoming a world famous Uno player.
Really?
I don't want to give away any more than that, but there is one line I can do from the movie.
Okay.
Where are we going? And so that's coming out in June too on Hulu. It's Seth Green's a voice, Tony Hale, Breckin Meyer, and then the podcast about last night. It's called Crossing Swords.
Crossing Swords, and where's that?
It'll be on Hulu. It's a filthy medieval time show. It's all claymations from the Robot Chicken guys. You know.
Oh, sweet.
And,
all right, we're gonna get cut off. So watch The Bellman on Amazon.
Yeah.
Go to the ALN podcast.
Yeah.
Crossing Swords on Hulu.
Yeah.
And Adam, you're freaking awesome. I will definitely hit you up when I'm headed out that way. I'd love to do this again sometime.
Oh, dude, anytime, anytime. A live hang is
your
in our
podcast
future.
again.
Oh,
I have a good announcement here. Monday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Seth MacFarlane will be joining me.
Whoa!
So everybody tune in for that. I'll post about that over the weekend. And that's it, buddy. You don't have to look over your shoulder anymore.
I know, dude, the most paranoid stream of all time.
All good, dude. You're hilarious. Much love to you, brother.
Thanks,
we'll see you soon. All right, Adam. Peace out. Mikey.